well. I'm Ophelia and welcome to my very first video of 2021 and the first video in my new series, A Journey Through the Major and Minor Arcana. So this series is going to be all about the cards in the tarot deck, and the idea is that each week I'll upload a new video which focuses on one specific card from the tarot deck. I'm hoping that this is going to be useful for anyone that's wanting to get into tarot reading or people that are just looking to add to or refresh their knowledge. So as I said, each week I will cover a different card, looking at the symbolism, the imagery, traditional interpretations, so what the card means when it shows up in a reading, and some alternative ideas. So even if you consider yourself more of an intuitive tarot reader, I think it's still nice to know the traditional meanings of the cards. In my personal readings, I'm always using a combination of intuition, the traditional meanings, and relationships to other cards within the spread. Okay, so this week's card we are going to start with 0, which is the Fool from the Major Arcana. Before I get onto the Fool, I just wanted to mention a little bit about the Major Arcana itself. It's made up of 22 cards, also known as the trump cards, which are numbered from 0 to 21. And Arcana actually means secrets. So individually, the cards of the Major Arcana represent a lesson from all of life's experiences. Or to put it another way, they represent an issue that we will all come across at some point in our lives. Now, some people see the Major Arcana as part of a higher or a spiritual force that is out of our control, similar to fate or destiny. Now, I'm not sure I personally see it like that. The cards to me are more like guidance, and things can still be changed. Ultimately, it depends on how you navigate each of those situations as to the outcome. So even if something is destined to happen, how you work with it is still a choice, and you're still the one that's in control of your journey. The journey through the Major Arcana then begins with the Fool, and it's also known as the Journey of the Fool. As card 0, it's almost like this card is the beginning before the beginning. We should definitely think of ourselves as the Fool as we move through the Major Arcana from innocence to enlightenment. At first, when you think about what a fool is, it may sound like a bad thing, with connotations of stupidity. However, that is definitely not the case with this card. It refers to things such as naivety and innocence. It's a representation of a childlike phase that we're open to learning and to guidance. It's almost like the Fool has no previous knowledge of the world and therefore is unafraid of it. In mythology as well, the Fool is always the one that goes on a major journey where they encounter obstacles, and those obstacles and tests ultimately shape who they become, and it does tend to be a positive change. The traditional and most well-known imagery of the Fool, and all tarot imagery really, comes from the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. It pictures the Fool as a young traveller standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to start their journey and take this metaphorical leap of faith. They have the stereotypical traveller cloth bag tied to a stick, which contains all of their worldly possessions. And the card also features a dog, which mostly people think represents natural instincts. Thinking about the meaning of the Fool in a reading then, a traditional reading would be that the Fool is embarking on a new adventure or a new experience. It could be a job, a new course of study, something new in love, or just a new project. Basically, it's anything that is just beginning. The Fool is about having faith in whatever the new thing is and having the faith that it will work out. It's also about allowing yourself to take a risk and knowing that it's going to be a risk worth taking. Some people may see this new beginning as madness or insanity, but it's more about being impulsive and spontaneous. So it's a reminder that your intuition is very important here and that you need to listen to it, but you also need to have an open mind and be willing to learn along the way. Now, personally, I don't usually use reversed readings of a card. To me, the meanings come from the card itself, the spread that you're using, and also the other cards within the spread. But just to consider some other interpretations of the Fool, I thought I would add some traditional reversed meanings here. So whereas before the Fool encouraged us to experience things openly, some see a reversed reading as advising caution. So if you want to start something new right now, then it might not necessarily be the right time, and we just need to consider things a little bit more carefully. Also, in this case, impulsiveness might not yield the results that we want, and actually the Fool's innocence may lead them to being taken advantage of. So it's just important with a reverse reading that you consider all the possibilities. I also wanted to mention a couple of different interpretations of the dog in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I said earlier that it represents our natural instincts. Some see it as a guide to follow and to trust our instincts. However, others have seen the dog as a sign of caution, as though it's warning this traveller to be careful. So again, it does depend on your personal intuition, the spread that you're doing, and other cards in the reading. I also wanted to show you a couple of other Fool cards that I have, just to see how the imagery is used. So I have decks that focus specifically on animal imagery and other symbolism rather than actual people. It's just a personal preference really. So in the Wild Unknown deck by Kim Kranz, the Fool card actually features a young bird. I think it looks like a duckling. It's standing on the branch as though it's ready to fly. So you can see some of the ideas that have been mirrored here from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It's again representing those new beginnings and starting out young and naive. And then in the 5-cent tarot deck we have different animals for the symbolism. So there's the frog, and at the bottom is a grasshopper. So again, in traditional animal symbolism, the frog represents renewal and rebirth. So again, starting fresh. The frog is ready to jump or to make a leap into something new. Here we also have the grasshopper, which is instead of the dog from the other deck. So the creator of the deck actually refers to it as a sidekick, reminding us to look before we leap, which is also interesting as well because in animal symbolism the grasshopper is known to represent an inner voice. Lastly, I just wanted to share some keywords with you as quick reference points that are related to the Fool symbolism and are just a really good starting point. So there's innocence, beginnings, trust, hope, spontaneity and opportunity. So if you just keep those keywords in mind when you do a reading, if the Fool shows up, then you've got a quick go-to guide for what it's trying to tell you. I hope that you enjoyed the video and found it useful. Please do leave a comment if you have any other interpretations or variations on what the Fool means. I do love hearing other ideas. Also, if you do have a tarot deck that's got some interesting imagery or symbolism related to the Fool, then I'd love to hear about those as well. So thank you very much for watching guys, and I hope to see you in the next video.